Hey folks, this is Jesse Cope back with another episode of the American Soul podcast. Tell you what, you have to love when it's 80 one day and then the 40s the next day. Weather has decided to change it again. Thankfully, it's gotten colder and not hotter. I got all off track because it's chilly outside. Hope y'all are doing well wherever y'all are, whatever you're up to. Hope it helps you get through cleaning house or doing dishes or laundry or baking or teaching. For those of y'all that are doing homeschool, hopefully it gives you a little bit to pass on to your kids. Doctor's appointments or driving or conference periods, lunch, getting ready for work in the morning, or sitting in the living room, hopefully by a fire in the evening. Do my best to use your time wisely. For those of y'all that continue to share the podcast with others, thank you. And for those of y'all that have joined over on Patreon, one of the tiers, whether it's for the extra podcasts at the end of the week or the video cast on the weekend or the third tier in order to be able to send me emails, I'm incredibly grateful for the financial support and I'll do the best I can or try to use your time wisely. And Lord, as always, thank you for the time to do the podcast, the people that listen to it, share it, guide them through their days and their families, surround them with your angels, protect them, and guide us as a nation back to you. We ask all these things in your Son's name. We're going to go back to the Christmas messages. A lot here. And feel like we're doing some good just going through them. You're going to see the concern really start to edge into President Roosevelt's address here in 1938. And they're very quickly realizing, well, not very quickly, but they're beginning to realize that peace for the entire world is really at stake. And and you'll see it just changes its tone, especially the last paragraph. December 24th, 1938. Tonight is Christmas Eve. We are gathered again around our community tree here in Lafayette Park. Across the street from the White House, darkness has fallen over the Capitol, but all about us shine a myriad of brilliant lights. All our hearts warmed by the eternal fire of Christmas rejoice, because new life, new hope, new happiness are in them. In this setting, I wish my fellow countrymen everywhere a Merry Christmas with peace, content, and friendly cheer to all. I wish also to thank the thousands who have remembered me and my family this Christmas with individual greetings. We shall always treasure these friendly messages. At this time, let us hope that the boon of peace which we in this country and in the whole Western Hemisphere enjoy under the providence of God may likewise be vouchsafed to all nations and all peoples. We desire peace. We shall work for peace. We covet neither the lands nor the possessions of any other nation or people. We of the Western world, who have borne witness by works as well as words to our devotion to the cause of peace, ought to take heart tonight from the atmosphere of hope and promise, in which representatives of 21 free republics are now assembled in the Pan-American Conference at Lima, Peru. I consider it a happy circumstance that these deliberations will be successfully concluded soon after the birthday of the Prince of Peace. It is indeed a holy season in which to work for good will among men. We derive new strength, new courage for our work from the spirit of Christmas. We do not expect a new heaven and a new earth overnight, but in our own land and other lands, wherever men of goodwill listen to our appeal, we shall work as best we can with the instruments at hand to banish hatred, greed, and covetousness from the heart of mankind. And so the pledge I have so often given to my own countrymen, I renew before all the world on this glad Christmas Eve, that I shall do whatever lies within my own power to hasten the day foretold by Isaiah, when men shall beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war any more. So there's a lot here. You can see that they're concerned about peace, the Pan American Conference. Hitler's on the move at this point, has been for a couple of years, but as Europe's starting to fall piece by piece. And FDR here talks about spirit of Christmas. You can, the spirit of Christmas has to be the spirit of Christ, the Holy Spirit, right? Prince of Peace is a name given to Jesus Christ in the Bible. He quotes Isaiah talking about the day when men shall beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore. Isaiah was a great prophet in the Old Testament, if you're not familiar with him, talking about a day of peace that would come. And so all of this, again, ties into Jesus Christ, ties our country back to our foundation, to the principles of Christ, the teachings of Christ. Again, he talks about under the providence of God, and that's actually a pretty nice little note here, because so often you hear those kind of things, providence, creator, guiding hand, in our early documents. And there's a lot of people today that like to pretend that that is not a reference to God the Father, of Jesus Christ, and the Holy Spirit. But it is. That's all that our country knew at that time. The 8+% of the people that were Christian. That's why Joseph's story said that if our founding generation had thought that the First Amendment meant to discredit or lower or turn against somehow Christianity, they never would have supported the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, the First Amendment in particular. And you can look at the delegates, for example, that went to the Constitutional Convention, the vast, vast majority of them, all but just three, I think, maybe just two, I don't remember, but not very many, were openly followers of Christ. Does that mean they were perfect? No. Does that mean I know their heart? No. The point, though, is in their public lives, they acknowledged Jesus Christ. And as a nation, they directed us that way. And so here where FDR talks about providence of God and then refers directly to Prince of Peace, Jesus Christ, and Isaiah talking about peace coming, the day when peace would come from the Old Testament, it's apparent if you're honest at all and you know anything about history. And I'm saying this for those of y'all, because I know there's a couple out there, because I get hit on it. If we're going to have any kind of discussion, folks, we have to be honest with each other. And it has to be in good faith. FDR's talking here, where does he say it? Wherever men of goodwill listen to our appeal. So if you really want peace, if you really have goodwill, if you really want truth and honesty, then we have to be able to look at what's been said historically and recognize that our founders absolutely created this nation as a Christian nation. And this is just one more example to add to your toolbox, as we used to call it in the Marine Corps, your skills that you have, so that when somebody says, no, we're not a Christian nation, even in something as brief as the Christmas message from FDR in 1938 on the eve of World War II, a couple years before, you get another proof that, yeah, we are a Christian nation. You know, you can pass this on to your kids. They can file it away. And teach this. Let other people know it. Just make a little comment. Say, well, FDR, he talked about Christ in his Christmas message. He quoted the Old Testament. He referred to Jesus Christ as the Prince of Peace and talked about the need for the spirit of Christmas, which can only logically, if the spirit of Christmas, and Christmas is about celebrating the birth of Jesus Christ, which FDR has talked about, then it must mean the Holy Spirit. I think we have enough time for another one because I want to talk about something just a little bit at the end. So we'll go to 1939. Little side note here. Here's a Christmas greeting from 1938, same day, to the Army and the Navy. It gives me great pleasure to send my most cordial and hearty Christmas greetings to the Army and the Navy. Events of the past 12 months have served to focus public attention on the national defense and to bring home to all our people a greater appreciation of the protective missions of our land and sea forces. The nation is grateful to its Democratic Armed Forces volunteers to a man for their wholehearted devotion to duty. It is my sincere hope that this holiday season will bring happiness and good cheer to all who wear the uniform of our republic. One thing really in particular stands out there, folks: the protective missions of our land and sea forces. Today, we have turned our military into a social experiment. The left has, and those who claim to be Christian and conservative have allowed it. And that's not the goal at all of the military. The military is there to fight and win our nation's wars. As FDR says here, they're protective missions. Uh, and so I can't not, because this has been the primary issue for decades now: lowering of standards, feminism, LGBTQ relationships, etc. None of that is our mission. No one has a right to serve in the military. The mission of the military is to protect, to win our nation's wars, to defeat our enemies. And you can't do that when you're pretending that men and women are the same, or that sexual deviancy is okay, or any of the other nonsense that we're pretending today. You're just risking men's lives. And if you don't have the courage to say that, then just admit that you don't have the courage to say it, or be quiet and keep your mouth shut. Let's see if we can find the 1939, though. There we go. Oh, this one's pretty long. I think we got a few minutes. Well, actually, I'll tell you what, we'll just make today's just a little bit shorter. How about that? And I'll finish with a little side note I wanted to add anyway. If you have any space at all, and I know that quite a few of y'all that listen do, and when I say space, I mean some kind of land even if it's just a little small area, folks, I would strongly recommend that you start to plant something in it if you haven't already. I told y'all recently we just pulled in some sweet potatoes, and there's a reason that I say this, and I can't remember if I talked about this last week or not, but I want to read through what came across my little messages within the past couple days. October 22nd versus October 21, talking about the year. So a year ago versus now. Inflation. Eggs are up 43%. Milk is up 14.5%. Coffee 14.8%. Butter 26.7%. Chicken 14.5%. Lettuce 17.7%. Cheese 12.4%. Canned soups 17, rice 14.8, cakes and cookies 16.2, and ice cream 13. All of the things seem to be up and continuing to go up. And when you take that out to what is it for a year or a month by month basis, about $430, give or take, per month for the average American family increase over last year. And so I just wanted to take a moment real quick to recommend that I would feel remiss if I didn't. If you have the ability to, even if it's just small, folks, even if it's just a few plants to start with, whatever you can do to kind of relieve that burden on your family and give you a little bit of comfort in we have some food growing on our own land in our own little space. And if you can stock your pantry just a little bit, I think that would be very wise. And I don't know how far this is going to go, but I do maintain that I think at some point, I don't know when, we've got a fight coming. Or the other option is to continue to go down the road toward USSR, Nazi Germany, Communist China, etc. And those, you're going to have bread lines there just like we will with a fight. So either way, folks, I think we've got some really dangerous and trying times coming. And the better prepared you are and your family is, the more you can help those around you. So anyway, that's all. I'll leave that there. God bless y'all. God bless your families. God bless America. We will talk to y'all again real soon. Looking forward to it.